Welcome back to Launch Your Light, a podcast for the mystical and magical woman here to share her soul purpose. All right, we are back with another monthly astro energy report, check-in, download with my girl, Ineza. What is up, my friend?
Oh my God, so much is happening. We are already half conversation in, so we have to share all the things. The energy is intense, chaotic, and we're gonna talk and unpack all the things and kind of share our story just a little bit. Because yeah, I think it will help a lot of people because I think we're mostly all of us are experiencing similar things. So where do you
Yes.
want to start? Should I? So maybe I'll share. So what I said to you
Yeah, go for it.
that on. So what most of light, a lot of light workers and star seeds will be feeling, and people that are intuitives, that we shifted into the another timeline over the weekend, and I felt most intensely the shift on Monday. And so what happens before we shift into a new timeline, it's also there's another astrological dynamics that I'll explain. There is past coming up, there's sadness, there's grief. We are looking at old triggers. There can be real life triggers, like Jayme shared some of hers, and mine has been similar. So family stuff, work stuff, finances, everything that we can't take to the next level of expansion, it's being shown to us. We can feel anxiety, fear. Also, we are having solar flares over the
Mm.
next today and going into the next 48 hours, if I'm not mistaken. So what that happens is how I feel it, and then you tell me. It's the energy is very kind of energetically up and down. I feel very light and clear. I do a lot of clearing. Like this is also a great time to participate, do the clearings, do the activations. We are in Lionsgate portal, which opened on 26th.
Mhm.
It's going to peak at 8th. So this is also, just quickly, this is where our sun aligns with the Sirius, our spiritual sun, and Orion's belt, exactly on the 8th. And we have 888 because it's 2024. So there's a triple energy coming in. So this is light codes, activations, it's basically information and light. So this can make us exhausted, but this
Mm.
is also the more we participate, ground, prepare our body, do the clearings, meditations, and connect to this energy. Sometimes just being in nature, you don't have to do specific meditations, but for me, I do them and they help me tremendously. Like activating the light body, getting the codes, whatever you feel like is your thing, and not with all the people. What I share will not, what we share will not resonate maybe with every single person. So take what resonates, leave the rest for someone else. But I'm just sharing, there's a lot happening. And I mentioned to you, the August has its own kind of really big energy theme. And that's what we're going to unpack. I know I went into a few different places in the same.
No, it's great.
Yeah, that's an intro. And then we
Yeah.
could go to kind of what's happening. Is there anything you want to share from what I just said?
Well, I feel like August is here. Leo season's in full effect. I've been calling
Yeah.
it Meltdown Town. I've witnessed it in my children, in other people, family members, situations, places, people, right? Everywhere. And what I mean by that is, it seems like right now everyone is face to face with their own reality, their own story, and those stories are bumping up against each other. You know what I mean? Like everyone's in their own kind of thing. And now for those of us that are in the Northern Hemisphere, it's summertime. Like we've been talking about these last few summer episodes, is like everything's being illuminated. Right now, it seems like things are being mega illuminated. And it's
Yeah.
not just, I know it's elusive to be like that with what's in the shadows is going to come to light. It's like, yeah, no, even like constructs in your mind of things of how you thought things are going,
Hmm.
right? Coming to light and being like, oh, whoa, that's not that. Wow, how have I never seen this before? Oh my God, take a look at that. So I think there's a lot of kind of like that surprising luminosity vibe going on. And just like, where everyone's at, it seems like everyone's really in their own show. And everyone's shows are tripping over each other kind of right
I
now.
think I think, yes. I think what happens is that a lot of the things are coming into focus, and sometimes it feels like a little nudge, and sometimes it will be a slap to what's not working anymore.
Hmm.
Because we are expanding, and because so much light is coming in, we can't carry all the baggage and the light. So the more we try to like keep the baggage with us and move forward, the more heavy and tired we will feel. The
Hmm.
more we will process it and sit with it. And August is a great month to sit with things for two main reasons that I will explain. But I think that thing of when I check in with my friends, how you feel of just out of sorts, bit shit.
Yeah.
Can I swear
Yeah.
on this show?
Yeah.
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 And then I feel the energies as like I feel deep sadness coming. I feel
Yeah.
past is coming up over, and it's the influence is astrological, light, the Lionsgate portal. There are several things, and especially if your personal chart is activated by some of these bigger transits,
Hmm.
then you will feel it immensely. So there's a lot of personal story that individually we are dealing with, as well as on a worldly stage. So it seems a lot. It's a lot to handle. But everything is great. It's all going to be fine. That's what I went to say. It's
Right.
all going to be fine. It's going to work out. It's just like we need to just chop wood, carry water, one thing at a time, like
Yeah.
all of that grounding, especially on the other second part of the August where we have. So maybe I'll go a little bit in details
Yeah.
on the transits, right?
Please,
Yeah.
please.
I know I'm very chatty today. Moon is in Gemini, by the way. So this is like
Yeah.
perfect. Perfect. I was like, yes. Because when it's in Pisces and Cancer, I can't get my words out. I don't know what I'm saying. Like everything's here inside, but I can't get it out. So in Gemini, I
Mm.
can't stop talking. Also, we are in the last quarter of the moon. So this is time to rest, retreat, rewrite your mission statement, let go of.
Mm.
That also resonates something what you said. So before the new, so going, so that I'm going to go into the new moon. So we are in the last phase. It's going to be balsamic moon and the next, and then the dark moon. And then on August 1st, it's a huge day. And we have the new moon in Leo. So new moon is always in Leo. So Leo energy is in God, intensified. So how I feel this is, and going along with Leo season, I think it's apart from looking at all this, the previous things we discussed, I think it's this a season of love and romance and inner child and joy and play. And even though
Yeah.
it's difficult, like I think we need to make an effort and do things that light us up and remember that we have an inner child and we are human and that not everything is work and dealing with things. Sometimes we have to consciously take ourselves out of it and put ourselves in joy and nature and laughter and friends and dancing and just we are human beings. We can't just be in healing and work. I think it's really important.
I agree, and I think each of you, lol, each of us should give a quick example because when you said that, I felt so that is such a truth for me, at least right now. So can you give an example of how you said inner child, that joy, even like what did you say, romantic, right?
Romance,
Give,
lover
can you
girl
lover?
energy. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you give an example of how you're doing that right now? How that's showing up in your life, even if it's the most simple example ever.
I would just switch off everything and play with my son and spend
Yep.
the day with him. Like just laugh, play, do silly things, go on a car ride with him and his dad and just joke and be silly
Yeah.
and just laugh about things and forget about everything and just
Yeah.
laugh. You need to fill the cup with joy and laughter.
Mm.
Leo, and that inner child needs to play. If we don't connect to the inner child, if we always just deal with responsibility, the energy becomes dry. We dry out. So it's not
Mm.
selfish to take care of yourself. It's not selfish. Also, romance, dating. I've been
Yeah.
feeling more open to conversations. I'm single. So I've been having a few conversations, which feels like exciting. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
let's have, even if it's like a conversation or organizing a date. something like I am pushing myself out, like outside my comfort zone, but like, why not? I have been feeling a deep need to experience life in its
Mm.
pleasure and joy and
Yes.
laughter and dancing and hugs, connection, like letting, like filling up that place where our light can shine and in service, because I'm
Yeah.
very, like same as you, I'm very service oriented. A lot of the people probably who will be attracted to listen to this are light workers, healers, maybe not, but we often are in service mode, in protection, in providing and taking care of others.
Mhm.
So playfulness and all of that. So the Leo new moon is a great way to connect to that inner child and bring in more of that energy. So is there anything you want to say before I go on?
Yeah, I want to give some quick examples of how this is showing up in my life. For
Okay.
example, wanting to pull out my dresses and put on my really pretty fucking dresses because it's
Yeah.
Tuesday, not because it's a special event. Like, and I've been doing that a lot, and then taking care of my kids in dresses, going outside with
Yeah.
them a lot more and trying to stay present on them, not necessarily listening to a book or reading a book or watching, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like just going out and
Hmm.
being with them. Yesterday, I did like a really long coaching session and I had a babysitter. I could have spent 2 more hours inside. I decided to go outside and pull out my anti-gravity chair and I laid down in the fucking sun. My
Sun.
husband has been
Yes.
kissing me. We're kissing each other more. He's making sure when he comes in the door and he's giving me a kiss, or if he's leaving to work, and he's a Leo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like little things like that, like really being like, wow, this is a beautiful fucking planet. And I mean, I'm a druid and I'm an earth goddess and I'm all those things. But it's like to remember that there is so much magic on this planet and in every single tiny little moment in nature with your children, with your loved ones in these situations, meeting people, strangers around the world, talking to them, me coaching people, like it's sexy. You talking to new people, it's exciting. It is. It's that creative life force. That's what the sun does. So yeah, I just wanted to give like even like catching how the sun comes in your window, in
Yeah.
the late afternoon and just being like, wow, wow.
Mm.
I think little things like that have been really tantalizing for me. And that's the word for it. Like look at these words we're using:
Yeah.
romantic, tantalizing, exciting,
Yeah.
life,
Rom yeah.
romance. Yeah.
Joy.
Joy.
Yeah. Dancing always comes. When summer comes, for me, I want to dance. I want to go
Yeah.
out. I want someone to take me out dancing. The one thing, sun, to be in the sun, like just be everyone for wherever you are, obviously as much as you can or as little, sun is available. But God, what I'm trying to say, be in the sun, because now the sun is giving us so much right now. So just being even 20 minutes out in the sun is beautiful. It's healing. Just to
Yep.
receive the love, because it's in its high, it's going to its highest point. So it's, yeah,
Yes.
beautiful. I loved everything you shared. It made me really happy. Because sun and Leo energy is also our life force, our solar plexus. So we need to connect to that and that fulfill that kind of what's the word? I'm forgetting words. What's the well of our creativity? So
Mm.
creativity as well as romance, creativity. So all of those energies during the full moon on new moon on the 4th.
Hmm.
So we can expect. So this is a new cycle. So there's gonna be new downloads, new ideas coming in on the 4th, connected to all these themes that we were talking about: Leo, solar plexus, creativity, joy. What brings me joy? What no longer brings me joy? And that brings me Virgo energy will, even though we're in Leo season, there's going to be Leo new moon. Virgo season, Virgo sign is the star of the August. Why? Because on so depending on the time zones, so new moon is on August 1st, and then Mercury turns retrograde in Virgo on 4th or 5th, depending on the time zone, and then Venus also enters Virgo. So the strong,
Mm.
so that new moon and that Leo energy and that shine is coming through, which is beautiful. We will also have um Mercury going retrograde in Virgo. So there is,
Oy.
yeah, but this is
Yeah, what does
I
that mean? Break that down.
yeah. So August 5th to August 28th, the retrograde will happen from Virgo. Then on August 15th, it will travel back into Leo, and I will speak separately about that. So the overall energy always is the invitation to be more flexible. There's shifts and changes, which will be other, I will explain other transits as well. But this is take a step back, slow down a little bit. So while we are getting these downloads and information now, and on especially on the 4th, on the new moon in Leo, there's going to be a lot of light and information. The Mercury in Virgo is going to help us, and also Venus in Virgo is helping this Mercury retrograde, because we're going to have a clear mind. We're going to look at things like it's not going to, we're going to see, okay, this is working, this is not working. So Virgo energy has a sharp eye, so we'll be looking at the details. It's also great not to, we might feel the need to jump and do things and just run with whatever comes in. But this is an invitation with the retrograde. Slow it down, like do it, analyze it, revision things, like even the existing ideas. Does it make sense to you?
No, it's great. It was great. What else was moving into Virgo?
So Mercury goes retrograde and Venus goes into Virgo. So between 4th and 5th. So it's the new moon energy. Yeah, retrograde.
So a lot going on next Monday, Tuesday.
So those are in between 4th and 5th. There's a big energy, but it's also slowdown energy. It's also avoiding always Mercury retrograde as much as you can. Stay flexible with the plans. New contracts, new launches, new projects are not always the best idea to do during Mercury retrograde, because they're going to have a repeat cycle where you have to fix something. So I'm not saying that is like set in stone, but it's just an invitation.
Can I ask, what about projects you've already started and another time? Is Mercury retrograde, then it's a good time to work through it still?
It's a perfect time.
Right.
Now, that's why I love Mercury energy, because for me, because I have a lot of air personally in my chart, it grounds me. I love to look at details with Mercury. Mercury is already in Virgo, so now it's just starting the retrograde period. So this is beautiful. If you have a project, people have projects or things that have been started or are in motion, this is a beautiful time to go back and check on, is this working, what's not working, kind of fine tune. And then once on August 15th, when the Mercury will travel back through Virgo into Leo, then there's going to be a new energy, new downloads coming in, like a better version of that plan or project will come through as well. So revisiting, revising from 5th to 15th, and then getting more energy in, and then it ends the retrograde on 28th. So there's a mix of energies in this, but so it can be unexpected energies coming in, downloads, but the overall energy is to slow down. Also, we have 4 big planets in retrograde. So in summertime, August is time where we might feel at times that we are stretched into many different directions. So it's very important to remember to rest, retreat, revise, not run with the first impulse, and just be mindful. Sit down, process. Then when it's put into, when it will feel clear after the August. Now is the time for revision. Okay.
I think that's a great message for people to hear right now. With this going back to school vibe is really what the end of August is the focus on. So this is good for people to hear that are in that school system situation where it's like, go back to school. It's like, well, you're hearing Inese say, right? Is like the first half of August is still like, chill out, have summer, calm down, finish up those summer projects you wanted, get your house in order before the craze kicks up. Don't feel like you've got to do your back to school shopping before the 15th. Hang out with your kids, kick it by the pool, go to the park, like, and then all these other retrogrades. I think that's actually like a nice refreshing message to hear because
Yeah.
you walk into any store, I mean, at least in America, and it's like back to school. Oh, and Halloween, get it now. And I'm like, what? Can we just chill the
That
fuck out?
sounds traumatizing.
It
We are
is.
only
I mean,
finishing July.
I love a fall, but even me, right? You're like, oh God, you're in that marketing squeeze of like,
Yeah.
we're always constantly pushing to the next season. We're in a four
Yeah.
season state, like here. Um, and it's like, as a druid, I'm like, get the most out of each season because we
Yeah.
all will feel the urge to go on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, some people are like, forever summer people, and I get it. Then fall comes and they're like, the death time is coming, the winter's coming, and they lose it. You know what I mean? But I would say most people are just kind of like after the hot days of summer, something inside you is kind of like, I'm all right if a chill comes by.
I am not a summer. I'm the opposite of summer
Yeah,
person.
same.
Like, I
Same.
am the only. So you, yeah.
But even, I would say everyone at the end of winter is ready for winter to fucking be over, and we're ready for spring. And after a wet, warming up, but still chilly, cold spring, we're ready for the rays on our skin again and summer. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I mean, for anyone who lives in two season places, they're like, F you, we don't have that. But you have
Yeah.
their own thing. They have their own thing. They have rainy season, they have summer season, they've got what they call a winter, da 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 da. So I think like it's
Yeah.
almost like we're ready to, but I think when you're pushing so hard towards the next thing, it's like these retrogrades pull us back
Yeah,
and
and it's a
go,
great
yep,
thing. I
yeah,
don't agree when people say, "Oh, I blame it on Mercury retrograde." No,
right.
nothing to blame. This, if we would non-stop being like we are already programmed to non-stop push. Like we can't even we feel guilty to relax. So
Hmm.
this is like a beautiful time.
Hmm.
Relax, rest, stay in bed. If you are tired, stay in bed, read a book. Like the world is not gonna fall apart. The
Right.
universe is teaching us also through these. If someone's sick or someone's losing a job or someone, this is even though it can be scary for the ego, these are redirections. If you're sick, stay in bed, enjoy it. That's what I do when I get sick. That's a message. That is
Hmm.
simply a message. You're overworking, stay in bed. I'm so happy, like even though I'm sick, like it shouldn't be.
Mm.
So yeah, there's lots of rest, lots of like received it. Like, and the other thing, the more we are rested, the more we take time to rest and regenerate, the more the clarity will set in about our things that we want to do. If we nonstop push ourselves to exhaustion and burnout constantly, we live in a confusion. And even though we manifest and achieve those things, there is the fulfillment and contentment is not there. And it's not, I don't, life is not about it, but life is not about that goal because the goal is then is going to be the next goal. Life is about enjoying the moment process. So yeah, this just came in. This was message for me probably, like to just enjoy the process. Okay, so
Yeah, what's
so
next?
let's next, but they all kind of the themes weave into one into another. So there is that we started talking before we went into recording. So Jupiter in Gemini is having a square with Saturn in Pisces, and they had the great conjunction in December 21st, if I'm not mistaken, on 2020. So that was the great conjunction. If people remember, astrologers probably remember this epic conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Now they're having usually a 20-year cycle. So now it's the 4 years in, they have an opening square. What that means is Jupiter in Gemini is big ideas, big things, big lots of talking, going fast, is mental energy. Um, Jupiter is expansion, Jupiter is faith. All of these, we will have Jupiter for the next rest of the year. In Gemini, I think probably a little bit more. Yeah. And then we have a square into Saturn. Saturn is in Pisces and it is retrograde. So Saturn in Pisces energy is ending things. Saturn is in Pisces, which is ending a 30-year-old cycle. So we are closing in karma, closing in a 30-year cycle, sitting with things, processing things. So this is not a running energy. This is often during the retrograde of Saturn, we are called to integrate the lessons and release the past so that the new cycle can come. We can go into the new cycle with much more ease. So that's separately that Saturn energy. So we will have mind, which is Gemini, sometimes versus Pisces, because square is sometimes often we can feel it as humans as frustration. So there can be Jupiter's expansion, Saturn is constriction, Jupiter is faith, Saturn can be fear. So during the month of August, I will tell you the exact conjunction is on August 19th, but we will feel these energies for the whole month of August. Some people will feel it even already now. Depends also how your personal chart is. But this also, so Jupiter has a vision. So that's why with Jupiter in Gemini, we can have a lot of ideas, a lot of things that we want to do coming in. And Saturn can be we will be tested, definitely, but these tests can lead to a greater understanding of what works in reality. Because Saturn, even though being in Pisces, and Pisces is intuitive and sometimes confusion, Saturn is still boundaries, reality, how we make that Jupiter's in Gemini's visions come to bring it into reality. So we will be looking at things that work. And this is something that you mentioned before. What is not working? What is working? So there can be that testing energy that it can be frustrating. But once we move through it and sit down and look at the reality, okay, this works, this doesn't work. Where do I need structure? All of these things. And also listening to intuition, because Jupiter in Gemini is a lot of mind energy. So we will sometimes be wrestling between mind and intuition. So sitting with and tuning into it's, I would say, symbiotic kind of relationship between both will work the best. So not only the mind, because mind can be running million miles an hour sometimes with Jupiter and Gemini, because Jupiter is big, big. But and Jupiter and Gemini also is through communication, teaching, studying, learning through all of these faculties of Gemini, we are bringing into reality that dream or that project.
Oh my God, this is perfect. This is perfect. How long is Jupiter in Gemini for?
So Jupiter in Gemini is for 12 months. So I think it started on May. So from May this year to May next year, Jupiter will be in Gemini. And it's going to be just expanding.
I want to say, this is kind of going to be an organic plug, LOL. But I'm hearing you say this. I'm writing this down and I'm like, this is exactly why I'm creating the Soul Purpose Studio. The whole point is to go from idea to creation, from A to Z, taking these divine drop-ins, these ideas, these creations, and bringing them the fuck to life. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what my soul is being activated and called to. And it was funny at the beginning of this year, I'm like, I know I got another like big signature offer coming through, but I can't put my finger on it. I couldn't put my finger on it in January, February, March, but like that April, May, June, that shit started to land. And now you're saying it's syncing up when Jupiter went into Gemini with that. And we have a whole time, like, that just makes me so excited. Okay, wait. Another thing that you said was so perfect, because I had this thing of expansion and contraction that needed to be talked about. And then you brought up Jupiter and Saturn, which basically is expansion, contraction, or expansion, frustration. And I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. I think a lot of people are feeling this right now. And I have had to catch myself over the years and say, am I creating a story of expansion or contraction? Or am I just so used to the cycle, it's highlighted and illuminated very quickly for me right away. I can take it less personally and I just go for the ride. So what I mean by that, go ahead, were you going to say something?
I get it. I get it.
Okay.
Keep going. I get what you're saying.
So, so it happens frequently. I think our expansions and contractions can be years long. I think they can be months long, and I think they can be in an hour. Within an hour, you could have the most expansive, amazing experience and this feeling that just breaks you past an energetic boundary you haven't been able to go for, right? And
Yeah.
then literally an hour later, boom, contracted in deeper
Mm-hmm.
within inside as fast and as quick as you expanded out, you went within. And that in physics, right? That's actually like laws in physics explain this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can only go as you can only, you know, go as high as you can low. You can
Yeah.
only go out as far as you can go within. That is ascension. I mean, that is the ascension process if
Mm-hmm.
we're going to talk physics of it. You know what I mean? So it's like but to realize it and to know that, I think, doesn't make it like that much easier. But when you're like, oh, I'm in a contraction right now. So like, what's the lesson? What am I feeling? What do I need to process? And what do I just need to be in the contraction of? And then there's a neutral time, right? The neutral, the like in between, the void, and then you're having an expansion again. And it's
And then
not,
it's that time when you also just there's production, there's productivity, there's
yeah,
void, there's contraction, and like from astrological point, there's void and initiation, then there's contraction, fine tuning, then there's production and working, then there's the contraction side, and then it comes like a full circle and starts again.
I just wrote that down. That is a freaking beautiful cycle. You need to make a graphic for that.
Yeah, well, this is
Yo.
so talking about today, the theme of today, which is that 20-year-old cycle that Jupiter and Saturn is in, this cycle that started in 2020, and some people will look back and it's like, yes, this started in relationship, a house project, a work project. Now it's the friction, it's
Mhm,
where you sit down, it's nothing to be scared of. The fear will come, there's fear and faith.
mhm.
Fear versus faith, mind versus intuition, all of these things come into play so that you can fine tune. Like Saturn wants to bring it into reality so that you have to organize the ideas. Why Mercury retrograde is so perfect also for this transit, because you will pay attention to details. This is not working. You can sit down with, I personally, with Venus retrograde as well, supporting this retrograde, with Venus in Virgo supporting retrograde, the Virgo energy will be very helpful because we can sit down and look at details and organize things
Yeah,
and make structures and
yeah.
make plans. Sorry if I did
No,
interrupt you, but I think
this
there
is
was
great.
some part that I really needed to mention, because the cyclical nature of our creations, or the planet cyclical nature, we live in a cyclical nature anyways, in a cyclical world. Like there's seasons, so being in a season now, specifically August, where something that you are bringing to life might feel like there's fear and doubt and past kind of insecurities coming up, work through them so that
Mm.
you can fine tune that, work on the work project, work on yourself, and then kind of fine tune it. And then it's gonna start the next. Once we move out of this month, there's gonna be more clearer steps that we
Mm.
can just keep moving forward.
Mm.
There's also Mars into play with this
Hold
with
on,
this
before you go into Mars real quick, can I
yeah,
just say for our
yeah.
viewers, and I want to clear this with you, are you cool if I make a graphic of a cycle, like just with some arrows going around, and I'm going to reference this episode and say that Jayme and Ineza break this cycle down, go listen to this, because I
Mm-hmm.
think so many people, if people could understand and be able to save that graphic to their phone and be like, am I in expansion right now or am I just in void? Because when you're in void, you can't do shit. You can't create, you can't even move, you can't make plans. You're just kind of like, oh, you're in that or
Yeah.
integration part. And then the spark comes, then that initiation comes that you talk about, right? And then the
Yeah.
contraction comes, and then the production comes. I totally agree with you on that, right? And then it goes
Mhm.
into expansion, or how do you think that goes?
So I would like to make it very simple. Let's look at the moon cycle. Let's look at like very
Yeah.
simple. It's a month cycle, and we
Yeah.
can put it up to 20-year cycle. This is the moon cycle. And it's the cyclical nature. When we start a new moon, let's say, and you can apply this to anything in your life. We start a new moon. There is new energy. We are tired. We are in void. We have been in the dark moon. We are waking up. New things are coming in. We are planting seeds. Then a week goes forward. We are in the first quarter that the friction in that what we are talking about now, the expansion and contraction. We are in that space. So we are going to look at 28 days, like as an example. Does that make sense? Am I responding?
No, this is great.
Yeah, so let's say we are in a look at the circle, like so down, we are starting and I will look, we can add maybe a little graphic somewhere in a link. I'm not sure. Let's figure it out after. So we come into the 1 week in the first the waxing moon, where let's say, or that phase where you are fine-tuning, the things are coming in, you have been working for that week on a new things, the new energy is coming in, you're working. Then comes in doubt, what is not working, you sit down, work it through, there can be frustration, anger, you go against some walls, then you work through that, then you work towards the culmination, which is what we call a full moon. Then you work through another cycle, another week, let's say, as taking this example of the moon cycle, you come to culmination. Culmination is where it's halfway, you're celebrating, you are looking at results, you are taking in what you have done. Like that's the halfway of the cycle. So of anything, of this cycle as well, from Jupiter and Saturn. In 4 years, 4 or 5 years, they will come to a point where we will look back on those intentions of 2020 and look, oh my God, look at this, all these things that we have accomplished. So going back to the 28 days, we celebrate, we also let go of what's not working, because there are things that go through as we create, there's things that doesn't work anymore. And if we are mindful to shave them away, just strip away what's not working and leave, like stay with the essentials. That's the energy of this month as well. Stay with the essentials only. Sit down, process, let go what's not working. Don't drag the stuff that worked in the beginning that you thought was working, but it's not working really anymore. Be very crystal clear what's not working and not try to bring. Sometimes we do that, I think. Old beliefs like people coming in with the project that's not working. And then we start the waning cycle, another part where we work, we give out our energy, this is like this, we are fulfilled with the work, we have lots of energy, that we are very productive, we share our work, there's wisdom being disseminated. This is that cycle. And then we come through the closing square. So there was an opening square with expansion, contraction, there's then culmination. Then there is a closing square where the project has come to a phase where it needs to be fine-tuned again, but this time it feels easier. There is like there's a closure element to that. Does that am I making sense?
Absolutely. And everything inside of me is like, people just need to go to you for this. They're curious about this cycle. I love how you broke it down.
Yeah.
And my thing is like, I feel like if people knew there was the cycle alive, like I talked about it, because expansion, contraction in the book, but this really goes deeper. What I wrote down quickly of the words that you used and try to put them together in like a little cycle was void, then initiation, then expansion, then production, then doubt, then contraction. And there's a bunch of other little points in there too. But how many people get stuck in one of those steps?
Yeah, we get easily stuck because we think something's wrong. Like we give up. People tend to give up when the contraction element comes. And it is so essential for the cycle, for that contraction element to come in so that you can sit down and fine tune. This cycle is the most natural thing in the nature, that we are living through multiple levels of cycles constantly. We are now, every person who is listening to us, and us included, we are in small and bigger cycles of our relationships, of our children, of our house, home, family, work projects. all the time. But astrology helps us bring down and unpack and see, okay, here I am. Here I am. So if you look at the personal chart and you combine with this information that we're sharing today, which is what the whole planet is going through this astrology. So you can, but then if you connect it to your personal chart, that is even, it gives people a sense of huge validation and relief. Okay, I'm right on track. And
Right.
even the fears, the biggest doubts are dissolved because it's like, yeah, I'm working on the things.
And to allow that phase to
Yeah,
be what it is. Like if you're in the doubt phase, then be in the doubt phase, be fully in it. If you're in that
yeah,
void phase, be in it. Don't try to push, don't try to make, don't try to do. When you're in a void, it's like, yo, right? Or like if you're in a contraction, just be in it.
yeah,
Easier said than done, but I hope this
100%.
episode provides as a permission slip to people to not, like what you're saying. I agree with you. People just feel bad when they're in those places. They think they've done something wrong. They think they're on the wrong track or something must be wrong if these negative thoughts and feelings and patterns are popping up, when really it's just part of the natural life and death cycle.
Yeah. It is success, and what comes to mind is we fail towards success. Failure is such an what we call failure. There's no failures. There's redirections. There's things that we learn, and we call them failures. So for the sake of a language, let's call them failures. We constantly fail towards success. Failure is an integral part of learning, of our journey of being successful. It's the most exciting part, actually. It's not going to the goal and then sitting, because like everybody who ever have like that success moment of like achieving something, it's a moment. But being in those cyclical, like in those phases of how you get there,
Mhm.
and if you can start to enjoy the difficult part, the void part, and all, being mindful, oh my God, it makes life so
Mhm.
incredibly more enjoyable,
Yeah.
just that knowing that this is part of it. Like I'm not doing anything wrong. If I fail, okay, I'm failing now.
Mhm.
Okay, we can call it that. It's not really, I don't like to do that.
Right.
Like, but
Right.
people immediately give up and kind of numb it because it's we are programmed in a way. This knowledge, that's why this knowledge is very natural, universal laws. We just
Yeah.
have to learn them. Quite simple if we really look at them.
Go ahead with the Mars, I think was the other one.
Yeah, so the Mars comes into so Mars also, there was going to be Mars and Jupiter conjunction on August 14th, which is, this is a time where we can take that leap of faith and make things happen. Like this is a very Mars and Jupiter together, it's like go time. So this can be, even though it's a retrograde time, if you want to do some things and just get things done, this is a beautiful day. Like just if there's still, because even though it's a retrograde period, our lives don't stop. Some people still will have things going and projects happening. So that day, August 14th, is expansion, optimism. I'm just looking at my notes. This conjunction brings a contrasting energy of growth, expansion, all of these. Like there can be new opportunities, adventure, taking a risk, and all of these kind of Mars and Jupiter together is like, and this is a lot of talking as well, because Gemini just is going to be talking. It's going to be maybe some angry conversation. So being mindful is also important.
Are you
And
saying
then,
what are the dates on that? Not that
so
not
that's
that there's
August
a date
14th.
frame around that.
Yeah,
But it's
no,
good
it's
to know
great.
these things.
Yeah. So that's on August 14th. So
Okay.
that's Jupiter makes that Mars conjunction, which is more expansive, but also can, because it's Gemini, it can be a lot of, information exchange, and it can be a little bit, there can be anger, that Mars can bring anger and things like that. Then on August 16th, Mars square Saturn, where this is another kind of deepening of that discipline meets frustration. So we can be like, we can feel deeper that delay. We might need to sit with few things. If things are coming up, which is also connected to Saturn being in Pisces retrograde, where we are ending up and closing out a 30-year-old cycle, like in our lives. There is deeper things that will come up that might open if you clear it out. There can be karmic closures, there can be relationships leaving, there can be jobs being my close friend just lost a job as well. These all in a bigger picture, it's very difficult, but it makes sense how things are closing out, so that delays are happening, so that opening can, so that things are being cleared out. So if we sit and process these things and take the lessons and let go of the story of the pain and the suffering and all of that we have been carrying, maybe for lifetimes, maybe for the last 30 years, there has been some pain. And this is a really beautiful time to sit with it, to clear it out, to go to a therapist, to do all the things that we can be at peace, to work on those bigger things that are coming in and those downloads that are coming in, because they can't live simultaneously in the body, in the consciousness. If we are in fear, there's no place for joy and expansion. If, like, I'm simplifying it, and it's easier again said than done, but doing that alchemy work, however, it can be simple. It can be sitting with the emotion and not running away. That's the simplest way you can do. It's not, when people say alchemy, it's like, it's not this big, huge thing you have to go on a retreat. You can absolutely do that. What I'm trying to say is, alchemy is taking the lesson, having the courage to sit with the emotion. You might have not been courageous enough, and now you have the courage with the Leo to sit with the emotion, sit with the discomfort. Give yourself 15 minutes. If you can no longer, I give myself 20 minutes. I put on a music, which is, I have a heartbreak list on a Spotify. This is my process. When
that was great.
comes, I have a broken heart or heartbreak playlist on Spotify. I cry it out.
Good for
I
you.
have a kitchen towel link, like, roll next to my bed, and we go for it. And
Yes.
sometimes it's 15 minutes. I just let it all out. Sometimes when the things are deeper, it goes longer, but I don't. So what you don't do is attach a story where you go down into depressive kind of thoughts. What I do, I don't attach a story. Sometimes my body will just, like, automatically cry and clear the energy. There's no story. This is alchemy. This is alchemy as the simplest way how I can explain it. There's other levels, obviously, higher levels of alchemy. Obviously, I'm not taking away of the people that do really deep work, but this is a human level, simple, everyday thing that we all should know how to do.
A visual that goes with that is like, as the alchemist, and like druid magic, high level druid magic is the alchemist. It's the fucking dragon. And I think there's like this snazzy view of alchemy, like transformation within, whoop, just like that you transform from coal to gold. You know what I mean? It's like, overnight I was a new person, when actually the reality is that really they were experiments. Those experiments can bubble and boil and stew and experiment over 1,000 times before you get it. It could happen for 6 months before that new level drops in. That alchemizing process isn't necessarily always an overnight story. It's an over the last year story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people need to hear that, because it's like, no, just be the new you. Just, and it's like, even like people who really understand manifestation understand, like, there's this whole version of you that's ending, and it's overlapping the new version of you coming in.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this like hand motion you guys can't see, but it's a massive overlap. And you'll have evidence of the old version of you that is leaving, and you will have evidence of the new version of you that's coming in.
And that grief, there's going to be grief and sadness and process of alchemy in that, because you're literally transmuting yourself. There's metamorphosis happening. And for some people, it's like, for me, it's a constant thing. I was born in this life. I am in a constant alchemy since I was born. And I needed to get used to it, because a lot of people are not in that way that I am. But that's why I can explain it so in a simple way and also in a deeper way. And you too, as well, if you're familiar with that. But
can I bring up my processing? Because this is another good example. You and you're processing, and I love hearing about your playlist and your process, because It's so true when you give yourself, like sometimes I have to get myself to the point where it's like, cry, go ahead, just come on, let it out. And then I let it out and I let it go through and I let it come through me and you really feel better. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I love hearing this is like coming from two Capricorns. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're making ourselves have it. Okay, my example of this is what I shared with you before the call where I'm like, something happened recently. And for those of you who watch Frozen, I felt like Olaf in Frozen 2, where something happened to me, and I was like, it really kind of like shocked me. And I was like, okay, well, okay, what's going on, you know? And I felt like Olaf in Frozen 2 when he's like, I'm sensing rising anger. I think I'm having an emotion. And I was like, I think I'm hurt right now. Like to my sister and my husband. And I was like, just like fuck. And then something else happened and it led me to this morning. I got up early. I didn't choose to sleep in. I was like, my eyes popped open and I'm like, go process. And I grabbed a journal and I'm a writer, but I haven't grabbed a journal to process in a long time. I grabbed my journal, I grabbed a cup of coffee and I went and sat by the window and I was like, write this out, Jayme, write this out. There's something to be healed here. Something wants to be seen. Something needs to come up. I feel like there's an overlap here. There's some similarities. Write this out. So I brought up this old tool that I used to use. My journal used to be like my free therapist. Anyone else? Oh my God. In
yeah,
my 20s, it was free therapy. And I'm so glad I did it. But I haven't needed that in a while. I dropped
yeah.
everything. I didn't work. I didn't get behind one of the 18 projects I got to get behind. I sat there and gave myself, it was like a 90-minute episode of processing out. And it just felt better. You know what I mean? It just felt good to like get
Nice.
it out in that state and make that space for me. And that kind of feels romantic too. Circling back around to the romantic thing.
Oh, self-romancing. That's just like you're
Yeah.
putting yourself and giving yourself space and time away to just be with your emotions.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Amazing.
Okay. Where are we? Do you have anything else on that magical little list of yours over there?
Yeah, just to end up, how are we with time? Let's do a 5 minute
I
wrap
think we're
up.
good. Yeah. Let's do a 5-minute wrap up.
Um, so the full moon, we have a full moon on August 19th. So simultaneously with the opening square between Jupiter in Gemini and Saturn in Pisces retrograde, we have the same day. So there's two big days, the August 4th and August 14th. We have a full moon in Aquarius, and it's squaring Uranus in Taurus exactly. So this is going to be Aquarius, first of all, it's unpredictable, it's futuristic, it's humanitarian, and all of these energies collect. This can be individuality wanting to come through. So this axis, with the full new moon and full moon this month, we are working with individual light versus collective. So kind of fusing them together, working, seeing where do we shine, and then in with the full moon Aquarius is how can we shine together. Oh, that came out beautifully.
Yeah.
So this is, but that square to Uranus, Uranus is unpredictable and can be, so there can be unexpected events, and it doesn't mean negative events. They can just be, that's why this energy will bring in this unexpected changes. So being flexible and just kind of riding the waves, it can be great unexpected changes. It can be the finally the decision or the opportunity you've been waiting for years that just drop in. It might be unexpected in a way that how things happen. That can be unexpected, the timing and the how it comes through, but it can be beautiful for manifestation. So it can be breakthroughs, because with Uranus there can be breaking through, breaking free. Aquarius is about freedom. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, so it's gonna square. So it can be just a lot of tension, like how I feel this energetically, a lot of tension being released. So if you're holding in, like just through breakthroughs, through breakdowns, through just all of these kind of
Ooh.
unpredictable energy of change. And this August carries the energy of change and unpredictability,
Mm.
but also the Mercury retrograde and Venus in Virgo, this Virgo energy, and then Sun goes in. So this is, I'm going to ground it down. So on August, after all of this is happening, on August 22nd, the Sun enters in a beautiful Virgo, and then we ground down. So if, like the second part of August is so important to take care of our nervous systems with everything that's happening. But then on after August 22nd, it's going to be more natural. We're going to come back into our bodies. It's the energy of the earth, Virgo, health. We're gonna, so I love that also Venus is in Virgo throughout. I think it's gonna help us ground, help us stay realistic, stay within ourselves, because sometimes Aquarius and energy in Uranus can just kind of be electric and overwhelming, and it's kind of like very much in the mind. So that Virgo energy throughout the month I think is going to help us to ground, but just be extra mindful the second part of the month. And what else is coming through? There's a lot of activations for light workers and star seeds, a lot of downloads. It's just if you're intuitive, really powerful activations during the month of August.
Yeah.
Also connected to the Lion's Gate, but even throughout the whole month is going to be very activating. I feel even in myself like this sense of confidence and not wanting to hide anymore, if that makes sense. A lot of people are expanding their projects, and there seems to be an energy of ease. So that's kind of the things. A lot of
I
change.
love it. Lots for August. Woo!
Yeah, big
Okay.
month.
Let's wrap
Okay,
this up with how can they
let's
work
wrap it
with
up.
you?
That's it.
How can they work with you? What do you got going on?
Oh, just so Jayme you will have a link in
Yes.
the description box, and just reach out to me on Instagram if you want to understand which session to do. But if you click on a link, there's a lot of information I have. You either pick a session and we'll go deeper with your chart, or I have mentoring with stars program where you work with me on a subscription basis, and it's very, very affordable at the moment. So if I were you and you love to go deeper with your astrology chart, and just there's a mentorship element with that as well, that's a beautiful time to do that. And you can have just book a short call if you're not sure.
Cool.
So just reach out. I'm very available for people to want to work with me and work with this.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I get to have my chart read after this right now.
Yeah, we are having mentoring star session with you just right after this. How exciting is that?
And just like being like someone who's in it, just sharing with whoever's listening, you know, I've come off of years and years, decades of having my chart read randomly or once a year, but like deep diving in and exploring different facets and not feeling rushed and knowing that every month I can be like, oh yeah, what the fuck's going on now? I can't wait. You know what I mean? It's almost like keeping up with the speed of what's happening on the planet and how fast I'm evolving and transforming and healing and growing. A once a year would not cut it for me right now. So I'm really excited doing this like monthly check-in, monthly deep dive with you or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. I see this as, I think it's going to be one of my biggest offerings, because I see this as such an incredible gift. If I would be in my years when I wouldn't do astrology, if I would know that something like this exists monthly, it would be just like incredible. Like, and I'm not saying this because I'm an egomaniac. I just know how much value it gives when you can check into a guidance that's bigger than yourself and just validate what you're going through and understand what you're going through. And then nothing is wrong. Usually the biggest thing that people walk away from is, oh, everything's fine. I am right on track. Nothing is wrong. Nothing's wrong with me, and nothing's wrong with the journey that I'm on. Okay.
Yes, nothing is wrong with me, and nothing is wrong with the journey I am on.
Yeah.
I
Everything's
love
right on
that.
track all
I
the
can't
time.
imagine what I'm going to call this episode. LOL. I will do another plug here. If you want to get in touch with me, I am launching the Soul Purpose Studio. It's not even coming out till August 23rd. It's like fall equinox, baby. We're going for 23 weeks long. It is the map that you need and the weekly focus and the accountability and the think tank and the mad scientist and the art studio. Let's get paint on the walls. Let's have fun. It's just space and place for you to like bring your creation to life. Where you do get that like focus and the steps you're looking for, while also that like intuitive, divine, playful, fun, creative guidance that is so needed when you're bringing something to life. So I'm so excited. I'm talking about it everywhere. Ineza
Yeah.
will be doing a chart reading for every single person who signs up. So I'm so excited for that because it's in the stars. It's in your chart. Like whatever you're here to birth and bring through, she'll find it and she'll help you with that. So it's going to be a
Yeah.
really fun, exciting time, but I'm talking about it until then. I've also got some really cool things in there. I don't even have links ready. I'm just excited to share it. So if this is you, you can text me that you can see in the show notes. It's like text the show host. Text me, let me know if you're in. Text me if you want Ineza's attention and I can direct her your way. And this was another great episode. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us your time and attention.
Thank you for having me. I love this. It's just so much fun to do this. And I hope it reaches all the people that need this information and that you take away something good and peaceful and inspiring from these conversations. And come
Yes.
back. Come
Yes.
back. This is only going to get better.
I already can't wait for
More
September, but
fun.
y'all have to wait. Okay, happy day
Yeah.
to you. We're going to get cracking with my session. I love you all so much. And we will see you on our next Astro Report. Talk soon.